Mm.
It wasn't anywhere else but that.
Gotta love Facebook.
Look at us. Okay. It wasn't anywhere else but that. Yay, we are here.
Gotta love Facebook.
Look at us. Okay, I'm delayed. Okay. Do I need to shut? It wasn't anywhere else but that. Yay, we are here. Okay, I'm delayed. Okay. Do I need to shut? It wasn't anywhere else but that.
I have no idea why the delay is coming through your laptop because it shouldn't. And you can't mute your computer, because then you won't be able to hear me.
Okay, I think I got it. Is it working, Val?
I was just waiting to listen. And I don't hear you again. So yes, I think you got it.
Good. Okay, so I know what it was because I have pressed play on I have both the Zoom and Facebook open, and I had pressed play on the Facebook one. So that's the situation. I think we're good to go now. So
Perfect.
yes, I'm so excited. Oh my gosh, what a crazy day so far.
There's always a lesson to be learned when you do live streaming. Always.
Yes. So let's see. What did we learn? That Facebook and Zoom both kick out your permissions every so often. And I had fixed everything, set it up properly in Zoom and on my Facebook personal, but didn't know that I needed a special app to be downloaded and the permissions to be set inside the group to stream to the group. So there's 3 steps. So if any of y'all out there are watching and want to be doing what we're doing, just learn from us. And also,
Absolutely.
5 minutes before might not always be enough.
And that in that 5 minutes, we didn't even visit. So account for visiting too.
Yeah, and you know what? Let me just say, that was really good of us, because that is something that we always do. Like, we always make time to, like, but we were just like, nope, we're going to get down to business. So let's do that. Let's do that. Welcome, everybody. I'm so excited to have you join me today to just hear what my amazing friend Valerie has to say. She goes by Valerie. I call her Val. It's just the way that it is.
Hey lady works as well. I will answer to almost anything.
So here's a little bit about my connection to Val. Val and her husband, so Val's husband and my husband were high school friends, and they ended up moving all the way to Minnesota together and lived together for 4 years. When I met them, And then Val joined the party a sweet short time after that. And so we've all sort of been in each other's spaces, and we kind of pushed the guys out of the picture. And it's really all about just me and Val now.
Absolutely. They're just there.
Yeah, we kind of drag them along for the ride, and we're like, this is what we're doing. So one of the incredible things about my relationship with Val is that we've had this really wonderful opportunity to just like really blossom and help each other grow and sharpen each other. And so I'm going to let Val tell you guys all a little bit about her and what she's up to these days.
Well, thanks. I am so honored to be able to be involved with you, not just on the friendship level, but on the business level and on the coaching level and on the changing everybody else's world level. It's so great to be surrounded by like-minded people who are working on the things they need to be working on. And sorry, my phone's going off. Hold 1 second.
You know, when you're live, you just never know what's going to happen.
All right, of course, it's my husband, who I told specifically this morning, I'm going to be doing something at noon. So, yeah.
Yep.
Anyways, he can call me back. So I was saying, it's just great to be surrounded by like-minded people who are looking to empower others, especially empowering women, because that's what we do. And I'm honored to be in your space with you and so grateful for the opportunity to visit with everybody. So those who don't know who I am, I'm Valerie Finlay, or Val, or Hey Lady, or whatever you want to call me. I live over in North Idaho. And when I was about 12 or 13, I transplanted from Arizona. So great time to move your kid from all of her friends. I am the owner of So Natural Val. It's a women's wellness company that helps women find the resources and the tools that they need to really live intentionally from their heart. And I've been life coaching with Stephanie for quite a few years now. And I've most recently kind of joined forces to provide both of our services together, really in an effort to empower women. And I get to help women feel empowered to care for themselves and the ones that they love through my essential oil use and through the community that I've built. And the best part about this business is every woman that I help helps me in return. So their value in my life is just as important as helping somebody and helping them create value in their own life. So that's just a tidbit about what I'm up to.
Just a tidbit.
Just a tidbit.
Well, and I would say that one of the things that I've really enjoyed doing with you is building our joint course, the Gratitude Project. That course was so fun to build and so fun to deliver. And I'm super excited. I know that we're not opening enrollment again until September, but I'm super, super excited to be able to deliver that in time for the holidays so that everybody can walk into the crazy holiday season ready to kick off a stronger sense of gratitude. So that's pretty cool.
Yes, absolutely. That is the best project by far, the one that I love the most out of any of them.
So what was it for you running that course that really made it feel so, like, why is it your favorite? What is it that makes it your favorite?
Seeing other women find the tiniest things that they can be grateful about, practicing that gratitude and watching it grow to where, at the beginning of the course, it's, oh, well, I'm grateful that I have shoes to wear. And by the end, it's, I am so grateful to have this massive life-changing whatever that they've had. And the community that we have with everybody, the safe space for everyone to, if they don't want to be grateful that day, it's okay. They can be downright angry about something. It's safe, it's community, it's women not judging each other. It's just it's really, really powerful. It's a great stepping stone into whatever it is that you need next.
I do love that. And I think that one of the things that I really value about that course is the honesty that comes out of it. It's not some positive poly course, right? It's not a place where we're just like, oh, pretend like the shit hasn't hit the fan, or that your life feels totally fucked. It's totally fine that you're having the shit day, and we're here to support that. And we're going to listen, and then we're going to help you move towards action and solution. And where are your tools? Pull out your toolbox. And I think that one of the things that I really love about coaching in that course is that sort of movement that happens when we're in group coaching and one of the women steps up and says, oh, I'm going through this thing, and everybody else is just kind of hanging on to her every word and just energetically sending her so much love and support, and the connections that builds. The ladies that went through our last course, I love scrolling through my social media and seeing them engage with each other's stuff. Like, they know what each other is up to. It really builds a stronger community when women get vulnerable, honest, transparent. It builds this really strong sisterhood that is unbreakable, because you have to be vulnerable in order to really step into the depth, of a true friendship. And I think that, so many women out there are just like, I want this kind of a friendship. I want a sisterhood kind of friendship. But keep things on the surface. Don't have the deeper conversations. And that's one of the things that I want to do here with this talk show, is have those deeper conversations and dig into the deeper levels of what's really going on in women's lives and the challenges that we face today as women. So with that, what does living a radiant life mean to you, Val?
Well, I also wanted to just add to, as far as the community goes, being validated by somebody else that your crap is also at my house. I have the same crap too. That validation, I have made friends, deep connected friendships faster than I've ever made in this community.
Yeah.
Valuable friendships. Not the surface friendship, not the, oh, hey, kind of passing by. These are really deep-seated relationships. So I just wanted to put that out there, that the validation from here is amazing as well. So when you asked me about what does living a radiant life mean, I started, of course, mulling it over. And Stephanie knows this about me. I am a planner. I need a little heads up before you just throw me out there. And so I was grateful to get a little heads up. Not a whole lot. There's still quite a bit of I don't know what's going to come up in this, but
it's only me
a radiant life. Right. Totally being put under pressure here. But a radiant life, I was thinking, gosh, a radiant life, it's like being healthier, feeling more emotionally stable, just kind of feeling better all the way around. And I thought, that's kind of a canned response. That's a response that people say when, oh, how's your day been? It's been okay. Or, oh, it's great. And you don't really get a full answer from someone. So the best way for me to describe what a radiant life means is for me to go way back, like about 15 years ago, when my life was mundane and boring. My home was actually my prison, and my work was my sanctuary, which is totally the opposite. A lot of people are like, what the heck? I'm telling you, that's the way it was. I was a very docile housewife. I was the mother, the maid, the secretary, the bed maiden, whatever. I kept my mouth shut. I did what I was supposed to do. I did the things that I didn't want to do. I kept my daughter's mouth shut. I spent 11 years in a loveless marriage. And, might not have been a full 11 years. There were some handful of occasions where things were okay. So fast forward, and my husband at that time said, hey, you know what? I want to move out. I want to take a break from marriage. And I thought, whoa, you can do that? That's crazy. I didn't know it was an option. So when he did that, though, it was freedom. He made the decision for me to start building a radiant life. I didn't even know it at that time, but that's what started happening. That's where my radiant life started. Just little tiny pieces of, mortar to go in those bricks to build that foundation. So despite all that junk that I had endured, we had a daughter together, so I had to be social with him until she turned 18. And as time went on, he kind of faded out of my life and everything. I had lost so much through that. I lost my car, I lost my house, I lost my husband. I got thrown into financial instability, single mom, all that kind of stuff. And I was like, there is no way that I'm going to ever be in love or be loved again. I was out. It was all gone. Then this really cute guy showed up, and my best friend was like, hey, you know what you need? You need a one-night stand. That will solve everything. Like, I don't think so. But it's a little, so, kind of been a minute. Maybe we should really think this
let's be
through.
honest though, sometimes an orgasm does solve a lot.
It will bring you right to focus in a heartbeat, but yes. But he came into my life, and our first date, it was a double date, total disaster, complete fail. It was his brother, so he was like, hey, it was, how socially awkward my husband is. So, but we tried again, and I told my friend, I'm like, this is just not, I don't need a one-night stand. I need just to be me. I need to just be a mom. I need to take care of my daughter and take care of business. And I can remember really clearly, and he hates this story because he thinks it's a bunch of crap, but we kept running into each other. And I'm a very firm believer that things happen for a reason. Stephanie was put into my life for a reason. He kept running into me for a reason. And I remember we were out one night at the bar, and you know how you get all awkward and flirty and weird, and everybody's dancing because, dancing is the way to connect, and you can't ever get them to dance again all these years later. But we sat down at the table, and he put his hand on my knee. And I swear there was an instant, lightning bolt feeling. And I knew everything was going to be okay. Mm-hmm. That instant moment, the ability that he gave me to know that I was there, he sees me and he thinks I'm cute. I knew and this is all looking back on it now. At that time, I had no idea. That's when I knew that my life would be better. I would be valued. I would be loved. I would be worth all of the things that I had. And that really is where that radiant life started, was with him showing me, I am there. I see you. You are pretty. You are what I want. And I just want every other woman in the world to have that spark, whether they've never had it before, or whether they've had 4 or 5 sparks or whatever. Radiant life is about that connection, about I am here, you see me, I see you.
Yeah.
There's value in each other.
Yeah. And
that would be
I love that. I love every time I get to hear that story, because this isn't the first time I've gotten to hear that story. And the thing that I love about every time that you tell that story, Val, is because there is this moment where your whole body changes, and it's in the telling of this story, that moment where you can recognize that you were seen, just simply being seen. And isn't that what everybody wants on this planet? To be seen for the fullness of who they are and to be accepted right where they're at, no matter what, right? It's that no matter what. And I think about that, and I have that in my marriage. And I'm grateful to have that in my marriage, because I know that for me, that allowed me to challenge my growth more so than without feeling that seen and that safety net that he became in my life. And so I'm going to ask you, what do you think that relationship, that spark, that building of your relationship with him has done for you as a woman, aside from your relationship, aside from him, but you personally, what has it allowed for you?
And it's funny because when you ask that, I always think about how other people might answer a question. And just from talking to other women, it it starts to sound more of what you are for them. And so in my case, that was the case absolutely at the beginning. I mean, we've worked over some issues that I've had about not living up to what I need to be for him.
Mm-hmm.
And now the way that this has progressed is I need to be for me. And then I can be what he wants me to be, what he needs me to be. I've been able to work through some serious blockage with communicating to him, being able to ask for something, being able to share an idea. And it hasn't even, I mean, it all started out with my relationship with him, but what it's given me is the opportunity to now have those relationships with other women, to share my story with them and say, hey, you know, if I wanted to ask for $5 to go to a yard sale and buy some piece of junk, it was a huge deal. It became a huge confrontation issue. Like, oh my gosh, he's going to tell me no, and he's going to tell me this. And now I'm able to share that with other women and say, whether it's a $5 something, whether it's, can you rub my feet for me? I had a really long day at work. Being able to feel freer to communicate to other people, to communicate to other women and say, hey, I know where you've been, and these are the things that I've done. Are you interested in working through them? I'm not ashamed to ask other women now, are you interested in doing this?
Yep.
Because I would have been before.
Yeah.
I would have been totally freaked out by going up to a woman and saying, hey, I heard that you're having trouble with this. This is what I do. Can I help you?
And I think that what I'm hearing you say is that by learning how to ask your husband for what you need and for what you want, it's also given you this, it's allowed you to give yourself permission to take those skills and that confidence that you're gaining in asking for what you need and what you want at home out into the world as well, in order to not just, ask for what you need, but ask how you can meet needs.
Yes. And I get hung up on talking about all the greatness that I've had in my relationship with him and where it's come from and building that up and everything. But it really does, if you spend the time at home, whether you're with someone or not with someone or whatever, your home should be your sanctuary. It should be the place that you feel the most comfortable. And once you feel the most comfortable in that place, you can start to feel comfortable outside of those doors and work your way outside of it. For me, that's what's really important, especially right now with being able to build my business and build my relationships with other people. So it's honoring what's deep inside of me and who I really am, and being okay with being 100% who I am. And it doesn't matter what somebody else thinks. It doesn't matter if someone tells me no. If someone says, no, I don't want to do that, thank you for listening. Go. William. No, sorry.
But he's so cute, Mom.
I know. William, I'm still on my call. Go ahead.
So when you talk about that confidence building, when you talk about how learning how to communicate with your husband and having your home be your sanctuary allows you to then go out into the world, isn't that true for all women to learn self-acceptance in order to do those things? But yet they're sort of they're opposite edges of the same coin, right? Because we sort of need them to practice, right? We've got to start practicing, but then we also need to be self-accepting in order to go out in the world and do the things that we feel called to do with our lives.
And that's not a selfish thing either. It is not selfish to ask for something. And I always think back to when I very, very first started with you and went through the actual course and every time I talk about it, I can't remember what it's called, but I know how important it was. I'm like, I spent probably 30 minutes this morning trying to find my file folder so I could remember what the dang thing was called. And I'm like, oh, this is not what I need to concentrate on right now. But from the time that I started that, with my focus solely being on creating a better relationship with my husband and not being the crazy, broken maniac that he married, to what I use those things for now, it's unbelievable the differences. And I'm not ashamed to ask to ask someone for their attention, for their money, I'm not afraid, yes, to ask him for satisfaction women things, which I would say more freely if I didn't have a 5-year-old right here.
I can see him waving his hands, trying to get you to do whatever you're doing for him.
Yes. There you go. Thank you. You're welcome. Do not bother me again. Shut my door. Right. Oh, but those are the things that I think as women we start to feel like if we ask for those things, it's very selfish. I think that we're instinctively genetically set up to nurture, and it becomes nurturing everybody else but not ourselves. And that's a mindset I feel like this group and this community is helping to change and making us feel comfortable to do those things and nurture ourselves.
I think that being raised in the time frame that we were raised in, the age that we are, the culture, the society, was really like there was still a lot of women who were perpetuating this idea that women's role was to only be the support piece for the husband to make the money and raise the kids and make the perfect home, and that our soul's needs should always come last and quite often should never be known. And you think about some of the articles that used to come out about making sure that you put your lipstick on fresh right before he walks through the door, and some of these older articles. And it's not that the desire is to not want to nurture, right? Because we are over nurturers for the most part. Just some silly things, like I noticed this morning that for the last every day this week, my husband's brand new water bottle, which he bought, because it's track season and he's coaching track right now, on top of working crazy days at the hospital and on top of all of the fire calls that we've gotten recently. He's been a very busy guy. And so he wanted to have a water bottle that he carried with him like I do, right? So it hasn't left the house. And it's just sitting there on the countertop and he's only using it at home and he's not home very much. And so, of course, my instinct was, oh, I need to call him and ask him if he wants me to bring it to work. Because I love him, right? Like, it's not because I think that that's my job, but because I know what his intention was and I want to support him in that. But also at the same time, if I were to do that, that's 45 minutes extra out of what I need to be doing for my business, for myself, and for my day in order for me to be successful in what I have the intention of doing in this world. And so I had to check myself and say, okay, is now a good time for me to be doing that? Not because I didn't want to do that, but is now a good time for me to stop what I'm doing and put him ahead of me? Because sometimes it is, right? Sometimes we do need to do that for our children. Weston had a horrible meltdown yesterday morning and came downstairs with like 10 minutes before I had to get him to the bus. And I already drive a long distance to get him to the bus as it is. So to drive him all the way up to his school takes an extra 40 minutes out of my day. But he was having a meltdown and he just stopped and he looked at me and he said, "Can you drive me to school today?" There wasn't an expectation. It was, I'm asking, could you meet this need for me because I'm not okay? So as a mom in that moment, it was absolutely important for me to go, what intention is he asking with and how can I meet his need and still meet mine too? So of course I drove him to school. And of course we had the conversation about, making sure that we're checking in with ourselves and doing our emotional work and all that stuff. And of course he's 8 years old. There's not a lot of, 8-year-olds on the planet that have the emotional awareness to say, I'm not okay, could you drive me to school? Most kids would just be freaking out. Like all my other kids did.
And what is amazing about that is we are helping women with this emotional stability, with the ability to communicate our needs, and with the ability to empower ourselves to care for ourselves the right way, to do the things that we need to do, not the things that we have to do, the things we get to do.
Yeah.
Your kids and my kids are emotional. I mean, I would used to be like afraid to share that with people, but they're emotionally stable. They understand how to communicate to me, for the most part, what is wrong. And can I, like you said, can you do something for me and meet my needs?
Uh-huh.
What we're doing, because this comes up in my house all the time. Oh, you're talking to Stephanie again. Are you going to go out and change the world and leave me and blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, no, that is
yes, I'm
not
going to
our
change the
intent.
world, but no, I'm not leaving you.
Right? The intention is not to become superwoman, because that's just putting more on us that's not the point. The point is we want to live this radiant life with others. As women, we need to be with other people. We need to nurture our relationships, our friendships, our acquaintances even. This isn't about we're going to go and change laws and conquer this and take over that. If you want to, then go for it.
Right.
But you need to be able to do those things in your own best version of yourself. And that is really hard to do when you're trying to live up to someone else's expectations, when you don't know how to emotionally communicate what you need. That's why both of us have these toolboxes full of all kinds of great things. Some work for people and some don't work for people. You don't have to have all the tools, but you pick the ones you want. You know, if you want the cute pink flowery toolbox, then get it. If you want the big old giant Craftsman, you know, whatever, do it.
Which is pretty much what mine looks like. It's like a warehouse. It's like a categorized, organized warehouse.
Yeah, well, mine is more like my basement, which is a complete disaster and a cluster, and there is stuff everywhere. But I can tell you exactly where I can find what I need.
See, I think that that's the honest truth that we don't talk about enough. That we fall apart too. Like, I've been doing my work for 25 years. I've been doing my inner work for 25 years now. That sounds like a long fucking time, because it is. But I also have a lot of shit to deal with. I've got a lot of stuff that started when I was 2 years old that I have to deal with that still shows up almost daily in my life. That communication piece is crucial to me being authentic. But here's the missing piece that we're not talking about enough. How honest are we being with ourselves about what it is that we want? Are we really digging in and saying to myself, or am I spending more time convincing myself this is what I have to do because it's what I'm good at? I get a lot of that. I'm good at a lot of things. I've done a lot of things in my lifetime that I've been really successful at. I've had multiple businesses. People always tell me, oh, you should be doing this because you're good at that. I understand that. That used to take me away from what was important. That used to trigger my ego to say, oh yeah, let me go save the world in that role now. The truth is that I get to use all of those things that I'm good at in this one thing. And I get to show up more authentically. I get to plug into myself more authentically. I get to listen and be honest with myself more authentically. And then that allows me to then communicate with my husband and then teach my husband how to communicate with me. Communicate with my children and then teach my children how to communicate with me. Same with my friendships. Same with my clients. Same with everything that I do in the world, my community. I think that the key for a lot of women living their most radiant life starts with our personal inner dialogue and our communication with ourselves.
Yeah, that reminds me of an instance that I had with a friend of mine about 8 months ago. She's struggling with making a decision, a life-changing decision about staying with or not staying with her husband. And we were talking about different options and, it would be great if you could do these things together, how much stronger you would be, or do it on your own. If it's really last straw, you're done, do it on your own. But one of my questions, anytime that somebody has something that big of a struggle going on, is I said, well, what is it that you're good at? Or what do you like to do? And maybe I should just backtrack a few seconds because I want everybody to be really clear. Stephanie is my life coach. I do not mind sharing my personal crap with all you guys and her responding back of conversations that we've had because I'm okay with that. She is my deep dive down and dirty life coach. I am coaching women in an opposite, not necessarily an opposite, but in a different direction where I see
that it is the next layer. Like, one of the things that I kind of would say that the kind of coaching that I do is I help you with the core classes of the master class of your life. And then there are lots of other people out there that do electives as coaches. Val's very wonderful choice to grow as a coach is in an electives sort of way, which is amazing.
I love that because that's exactly what I feel like. Like you are the core classes that we had to take. No matter what you were going to do, you have to take this. You have to be involved with Stephanie or you don't get to graduate. So you have to do those core things. If you want to do home ec or if you want to do band or if you want to do this, then that's me over here. I'm the elective. I love that comparison. That's really awesome. So my elective is to coach women in their strengths, to celebrate what they are uniquely and infinitely good at. So I asked my friend, what are you really good at? Because I know her very well. I know a few things that she's really good at. So, darts and camping. I really like to camp and I like to do this. And I'm really good, a really good mom. I said, okay, well, those are great. But what are you really passionate about? What, like, if you start talking about something like Stephanie and I talking about this stuff, you can see how passionate we are about it. What's your thing? And you cannot say anything that involves your kids or how you're a good mom or a good wife. And she started crying. Mm-hmm. She says, I don't have anything. And it broke my heart because it's the inner part of us that needs to have a passion for something. You don't have to go out and be the billionaire top dog at your company and feed starving children in, third worlds. You can be passionate about baking a cake. You can be passionate about your gardening. You can be passionate about anything. But if all you can come up with is I'm a good wife and I'm a good mom, it's time to go to your core classes.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that's the conversation that the two of you had, because that's another thing that I think that we really need to do with the people in our lives more is have those honest conversations, and I think one of the things that I love about what I get to do every day as a coach is I get to have those honest conversations. People show up because they want to have those honest conversations. People choose me as a coach because they're ready to get clear with what's working and what's not, and start building new tools, new resources, new habits that don't just replace the old stuff, but really take up the new space. It creates new spaces. It allows for new opportunities. It allows for ultimately joy. And when joy is at the core of what you're doing, even if it's part of the task that you don't want to do, when joy is at the core of what you're doing, you're still radiating, you're still shining, you're still glowing. And I think that our relationship, my relationship with you, Val, is one of the areas in my life that I just really look forward to our conversations, because they always come down to deeper topics. They always come down to finding gratitude, even in the hard shit.
That is the hardest thing for women to do, is to find something to be grateful for when it feels like everything's crashing around. You have 17 ball games to go to in one day, and you have 4 kids and they're at different fields, and it's all coming in on you, and there's no way that there's anything out there that you could be grateful for.
Yeah,
there is. We'll find it for you.
You have 4 kids that you said you would do all this shit for.
Right.
I mean, and that's one of the things that took me a long time. I will say it took me a really long time to find the joy in the busyness sometimes, even though I have 2 children that have passed, and, I have all these bonus kids because I desperately wanted a big family. And, I think that reminding myself that it's okay to be upset. It's okay to realize that I'm having a really hard day as a mother. And maybe I didn't know what I was asking for when I said I wanted a big family and all these people running around. And I didn't really necessarily want to be parenting for 26 years already and still have 10 more to go with a little person at home. But there's so much joy in it. I look at my children today and I think, wow, my kids are amazing humans doing some really cool shit in the world. And I'm so lucky and blessed.
I look at your kids that way too,
Oh.
because it's easier than looking at my kids sometimes.
But sometimes we need that too, when our kids aren't, when they're not living up to their fullest potential, or they're not challenging or trying to grow. Like when they're in the season of the ugly duckling stage, I like to call it, when they're in that season, sometimes we do have to look at other people's situations and say, there's hope. There's hope. What's the most valuable lesson you feel you've learned that's allowed you to shine your light in this world?
I think the thing that is proving to be not only the most valuable to me, but the most valuable to others is believing in myself right now as who I am at 100% authentically me. People, and this is really hard for me because life, people love me for who I am, for the way that I talk, for the way that I teach, for the way that I coach, for the way that I raise my kids. Some people don't like me for those reasons. I don't care. I may care a little bit sometimes, but that's the most valuable lesson that I have learned through all of this, is that I am exactly what I need to be right now. I was exactly what I needed to be in that crappy relationship. I was exactly what I needed to be when I was a teenager, wreaking havoc on my parents and whatever. A lot of times people, they say, oh gosh, if you could go back and change anything, what would you change? I don't want to change anything. Yeah, it'd be great to go back and like win the lottery or something like that. But would you be who you are if you did that? And some people say, well, then I wouldn't have had to suffer through blah, blah, blah. But now look at you where you're at. What would have happened if you wouldn't have suffered through that? You couldn't pass those life skills, the knowledge onto other people. Had I not gone through all of that crap, I wouldn't be who I am.
Yep, I totally get that. I feel the same way about my life. And I think that the depth of the trauma that I've been through and the vastness of the different kinds of trauma that I've been through in my life is what allows for a deeper understanding of the pain that people walk around this world with. I could not be the coach that I am today. I could not be serving people the way that I do today if I didn't have that level of relatability and be able to sit in their pain with them, knowing without me saying a word, that they feel that I feel what they feel, that I know what it feels like to be standing where they're at. And yeah, is it really difficult to live in my life every day sometimes with the triggers? You're damn right it is. It really fucking sucks. There are days where I'm triggered left and right and I feel like the walls are crashing in on me. Absolutely, without a doubt. I just had this on Sunday and it was difficult. And it was far more than difficult. It was miserable. And to be able to try to communicate that when I'm falling apart, to have the strength to stop and have the control to stop and not lash out and to try to explain myself to everybody in my house, that's not an easy thing to do. But also, the only person responsible for my triggers is me. And I have to show up to that. I have to show up and say, I'm not okay. If that's all I can articulate, then that's all I can articulate. And that's got to be okay sometimes. I don't have to stand in the space where I am responsible to constantly explain myself. But I do need to say, I need my space. I'm not okay. Instead of taking it out on everybody around me. Helping people do that is one of the things that I'm really good at. Because I've got it practiced, really well practiced. But also, I love how you said, you wouldn't be the person you are today. That trauma shaped me. And now if you look at my siblings and you look at my, the lives that they all live, mine is vastly different from all of them. Why? Because there was a calling on my life. Because there was a specific calling on my life to use this platform to help heal people around me.
And you had the ability to take the action necessary to do that.
Yeah. And the passion for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what it takes. I mean, it's not easy to show up and sit in other people's pain all the time, right? That's why a lot of people don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably the core challenge of most marriages. Not taking every little snipe remark personally.
Right.
Learning when it's about you and when it's really not about you.
And to know, in my case, that the little snide remark that you just made that I heard over and over and over again before you is not yours to carry.
Yeah.
It's not for me to be mad at you for something you didn't do.
Yeah. But then also have the responsibility, if you're not able to stop your inner reaction, to sit down and learn how to articulate first for yourself on how you want to say, this is a challenge. Could you please stop saying it like this? I need your support in this. Is learning how to communicate with your partner in ways that, one, your partner could hear, right? And two, that makes you feel heard. That doesn't trigger another fight, another argument. So, how do you integrate all parts of what being a woman means to you?
I go back to the things that you started teaching me in the very beginning. The topics, there's 5 of them, or is there 6?
6 of them.
Okay, because see, I always say there's 5 because there's one that I still don't like.
I know that.
But I go back to those a lot, and I think about what I need to work on in each of those areas. And I want to be able to use those things to teach my daughters to do the same. And I know we talk a lot about just women specifically and our daughters and things like that. There's a reason that we do that. There's a reason that you and I have been called to only work with women. There's not, and this used to be a hang up for me. I'd be like, oh shoot, but if there's a man out there that's interested in using essential oils and learning all these things, I need to teach him that. Oh, I don't. I don't, because it's not my thing.
Yeah, there's plenty of male specialists on this planet that can help them if that's what they need.
Yes.
And there's plenty of other
Yes.
female specialists on this planet that would love to work with them.
Exactly. So I want to make sure that other women can feel all the goodness that we feel around these things. And like you said, it's not 100% of the time, but I would say it's a good 90 to 95% of the time that things are living, we're at our best. We're doing the best that we are at that moment.
Yep.
And I forgot the question that you asked me.
You answered beautifully. And I love that you come back to the Radiant You Sisterhood course and everything that you learned in that course and the 6 parts of the 6 pillars of what a fullness of a sisterhood looks like, because that's what that course teaches. It teaches how to have a sisterhood in your world. And the first 5 pillars are all about you, because you have to be your own best friend first in order for you to go out and know how to be a friend to others and how you want them to be a friend to you. So the first 5 pillars are crucial, because if you don't have those things really clear inside of you, then you're going to struggle at your friendships. You're going to struggle at your interactions. You're going to second guess your interactions a lot if you don't have those first 5 pieces really clear. And that doesn't mean that you've got them down pat, solid, like they're unbreakable, because that's not true. Life has a way of taking out one of those pillars on the regular. Sometimes it's your nutrition. Sometimes it's your spirituality. Sometimes it's your, emotional health. Sometimes it's your sexual health. You look at your spouse and your partner and you're like, wow, you do still exist. It's been what, like, I don't know how long? Like, I'm going to start meeting my own needs here pretty soon, buddy. And that is one of the things that is really crucial for us to understand, is the fullness of being a woman. And I think that conversation gets muddied sometimes because of the history of what women have been expected to do and show up as. We've got a lot of media campaigns that have promoted, a certain body type or a certain look or a certain this or a certain that. And there's so much body shaming going on in the world. And one would have thought that by now we'd gotten through with that, but that's not quite the case. I know that movement is happening and change has begun, which is beautiful, but we need to stay hyper vigilant to make sure that first, we love our bodies. It's nobody else's job to love my body but me. And to be grateful that my body can do all the things that it can do. To be grateful that it has been a home to 5 children. Like, what a gift. What a gift. It's been a safe place for so many more kids to come and just feel loved and held and supported. It's been so much. It's done so much for me personally, beyond what it's done for other people. And if I don't love my body first, then I'm never going to be able to just accept me for me and then start accepting all the other different body types around me. Because when we have shame for our own body type, we have shame for our own bodies, then we start to have judgment about other bodies. And that's not healthy either. So I love that you came back to the pillars of that course, because those pillars really are crucial to the foundation of how we want to show up in this world.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is something that, like I said, I can revisit over and over again and pull something else out of it every single time. I boast about that program, even though I can't remember the name of it. I can't remember the 6 pillars. I know which they're probably like, because I've based my business around them as well in a different manner, but they really are the key in yourself to unlocking everybody else's potential, but you have to have that first.
Yeah, definitely. For sure. Like always, we always have the most wonderful conversations, and I love spending time with you, Val. And I'm just so grateful that you said yes to taking a chunk of time out of your day to partner with me on spreading some really important truths and for showing up for all of these ladies.
Absolutely. I love it. I think it's really important to prioritize what your passion is and to prioritize your people. You know, I'm the type of person that if you ask me to sit in on something or ask me to do something for you, I will make the room to do it. If I can't, I will tell you, hey, I can't do that. I don't invite people to things that I don't think they're going to enjoy. Or if I think they're too busy, you know, sorry, I didn't invite you. And I hope that they feel the ability to say, hey, I'm not busy. What the hell? Where's my invite?
Right.
I want people to be able to talk to me that way. Like, hey, what just happened here?
Yeah.
And there not be like the nastiness that goes on. You know, real quick story before we wrap things up. I have a friend who went through something very, very, very horrible. Some of the choices that she made were not choices that I would have made. The lifestyle changes that she was making were not along the same path as mine. I always told her that. I always said, are you okay? I see you doing this and it worries me. And she always would answer me, I'm fine. And it's okay if you don't like it, but this is what I'm going to do. And we always supported each other. Over the past year, we've drifted very far apart because of the result of some things that have happened. I went to see her the other day, and I was trying to find every excuse in the book not to do it. It was very important for me not to be there because, oh my gosh, we're going to have this confrontation. We're going to have this big fight. She's going to knock me out. I mean, there were stupid things going through my mind. I knew that we had always been authentic with each other. I knew that I had always told her the truth and that she had always told me the truth, even when I was going, oh, okay. And I walked up to her and as soon I said, you know, I need to give you a hug. And she's like, well, of course. And the minute that my arms went around her, the tears came. Mm-hmm. Because I have always been true with her and she's always been true with me. And there have been rumors and gossip and all kinds of things flying around. Both of us, we never once have ever lied to each other or been deceitful or anything like that. The person she is now is the person that she was before all of her tragedy. And so it's really, really important for me to make sure that people understand how being authentic and being truthful and being vulnerable and being validated can move us forward. That's what Stephanie and I are doing. That's all we want, is for people to feel like, oh, I can totally be this and it's okay. And even if somebody doesn't think it's okay, it's still okay because it's what I need.
Yep. And just saying that it's okay that you do things different than me. I wouldn't do that way. That doesn't feel like that would be kind or authentic to myself, but that's okay that you show up differently than me. I don't appreciate you or value you or love you any less. Like, you are not less in my eyes because you're doing things and you're doing life differently. And I think that could be one of the core reasons why oftentimes people will say that I'm intimidating, because I do really appreciate and value everybody's choices, everybody's opportunity to show up. But when I, at the core, know that something isn't right because it doesn't measure up to love, if it's not loving, that's when I call it out. And that's when I call a spade a spade. That's not a loving way to treat that person. check to see if that is a loving response or a loving action or a loving word. Because if it's not, if at the core of what you're saying or you're doing does not measure up to love, then that needs to be challenged.
Yeah. And love was a 4-letter word for me for a long time.
I know.
Like a dirty 4-letter word.
Yeah.
And it's not now.
And what does it feel like inside of your body now when you say it and when you hear it?
Oh, it's as uncomfortable and awkward as ever, but it's just freeing to be able to just talk to someone. I mean, I honestly feel like you and I are just sitting on your front porch, having a little glass, whatever, and chatting about stuff. I am not a huge social media person. I don't share every life, whatever. I don't do a lot of videos. I don't do all that stuff. If I start thinking about what we're doing and that we're live streaming and all that stuff, I'm going to start with the shutdown. But I've learned to be comfortable. I've learned to love me. Like, I love everything about what I'm doing and who I am and all of the bumps and curves and stars and all that stuff. And that took a lot of work.
It does. It really, really does. At the core of everything that we do, learning how to accept ourselves for where we're at with the idea that we're working towards our fullest potential, that where we're at right now is good. We're good, we're solid, but that we're working towards our fullest potential. Because if we just are stagnant, then we're not living our fullest best selves anyway. But if we're always thinking, I love myself just as I am, man, I really screwed the pooch on that one. You know, like, you're having that moment and you're just honest with yourself. You're just honest and transparent with yourself first. Then you can be honest and transparent out in the rest of the world. And when you can do that, then you're always moving towards your highest potential.
Yeah, absolutely. And love is about honesty. And I think that's why it was such an ugly word for me for so long.
Interesting. Yeah. And a lot of people have a problem with honesty, especially because we're not taught it at a young age, and we were raised in we don't air our dirty laundry, and your family was screaming cuss words at each other the entire drive to church. But the second that door opens, you better put your smile on, like, we are a happy family. We are good. Like, don't you dare tell people we were yelling at you. Yeah. When you're raised like that, honesty's hard.
Yeah. I think that honesty is being taught as a something to be scared of.
Oh, yeah.
Because as children, when you're asked, did you break that? The tone of that immediately sets off, like, I'm going to be in trouble. What do I say? You know, and I'm trying with my kids. Did you do this? You can tell me if you did or not, and then let's talk about why you did it. Just like with William and his broken wine glasses the other day. Why? Why did you do that? Because I was angry.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go from there. So the honesty isn't something that we should be afraid of.
No.
Love isn't something we should be afraid of. You know, fear can be our passenger to make sure that we're not driving off a cliff. We're not going to give it the wheel so that it can take us some different direction. You know, it's there for a reason, but you've got to have that good relationship with it to be able to say, okay, wait a minute. Nothing bad is going to happen to me if I tell somebody an honest answer.
Yeah. Or setting boundaries in an authentic and honest way, right? Because I think that that's another thing, that we really don't want to hurt people's feelings, but all we're doing is hurting ourselves. We are drinking the poison meant for somebody else. Every time we do that, we're making ourselves sick with worry, sick with judgment, sick with fear, sick with anxiety and anger and resentment. Like, it just builds. And when you don't say to somebody, hey, that's not okay with me, or, you cannot talk to me that way. I won't stand for being talked to that way. When you put up a boundary, you put up a wall like that, that's clear, that says you can't cross this line. And then what happens is oftentimes we do it out of defensiveness first. And we're just like, you can't do that. And then we walk it back the next time they cross that line. And then we're like, oh, well, I already told them, so they should know. We don't hold the boundary with clear, calm, peaceful respect for ourselves. We let them cross the line. And so then we don't really mean what we say. And so when we do that with our partners, with our kids, with our family members, with our community members, like I think about my adult kids, love my children. They are amazing humans, but boy, do they expect mom to answer immediately. I got one kid who is currently stationed in Italy, and he is 8 hours difference from me. That boy texts me, I need you to approve that text message from Amazon so that I can get this order out to my girlfriend. That was at like 8 o'clock this morning. And I'm like, that's on a time, there's a time frame there. Like, there was no like, Mom, I want to order some stuff. Could you please let me know when is a good time for me to send you this approval message so that you can say, yes, this order is allowed from my Amazon account because it's in another country, like, not like, I need you to do this right now. And then they call. Why didn't you answer the phone? Because you're not the only thing I have going on in this life anymore. Like, I didn't answer you immediately when you lived here even. Like, they just have these high expectations that mom will always be there, which, one, subconsciously, wow, doesn't that feel really good that my adult male children go, my mom's always there for me. She's always there to listen, to talk, to support, my mom is always there for me. Like, how great is that, right? They have that healthy relationship to know that they're safe, they are loved, they are supported. But also, y'all are 18 and 20, some grown-ass men. Like, you can learn how to write your address and text it to me the way it's supposed to be written, and I don't need to spend 20 minutes trying to figure out how to write this APO address because you now are stationed in Italy. I'm just saying. You have far more time on your hands than I do, son. So I think that holding those boundaries, and I did. When he texted me that and he was like, sent me a picture of some letters and some blank lines. Here's my address. Nope, that's not going to get to you. Promise you that. You need to research it. And then I went dark. I sent him an article and I went dark. I said, no, I'm not going to do this for you. And I didn't answer his text messages because if I did, I would have come from a place of anger and frustration instead of just holding a calm, peaceful boundary that said, no, you need to do this for yourself. And then it's your address. You can share it with the rest of the world. I'm not your secretary. I love you. You've got this. So holding that.
Call that going on strike.
Well, there was a little bit of that
okay.
too.
You guys are not listening. You're perfectly capable of doing this. I will see you in about an hour. And oh my gosh, miracles happen. Things get done. People get fed.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's fantastic.
Ladies, we could go on and on and on for hours upon hours sharing our life experiences.
We are ridiculous sometimes, aren't we? But that's okay, because we sort of got to catch up a little bit in this conversation because we didn't catch up beforehand, which is great. And I love
Mhm.
spending time with you, Val. And I'm just so grateful for you in my life and in my world and everything that you are doing and that you have to offer. I just send you all the love and all the light and all the wishes of success in your adventures and everything that you do. I just adore you. I love you. I think you're amazing.
Well, thank you. And you always get full credit for where it's going. I'll take some credit for doing the work, but I honestly wouldn't, if I had never won the free coaching call, it never would have started, and that's what I love about your discovery calls that you offer to people. Dude, you guys take advantage of that. Don't let free stuff go by. I swear, I'm the lady at the grocery store who walks by something and it says free if you do this or that. Fill out this form and you'll get something free. Oh, hell yeah, I'm going to fill out something to get something free. Do a discovery call, find out. Don't waste free stuff
Yeah.
because it will change everything.
And I will do a little plug here and say that even my discovery calls, you're going to get movement. We're going to work on something. You're going to get homework. You're going to get something, even if you decide that coaching with me isn't the right fit for you at this time in your life, you're going to get something, some sort of takeaway that's going to benefit you to have movement. So even if you're thinking, I don't really want to do coaching at this time in my life, or maybe now's not the right time, that's totally fine. But please do, like Val said, don't wait to do one small thing for yourself, because it's going to make a difference. You're going to feel better.
And that's absolutely, that is what we've been talking about this whole entire time. Doing something for you. That is the first thing that you can do for yourself. And it's not going to cost anything but a little bit of time.
And maybe let go of some of the shit that's no longer serving you.
Well, yeah. And there might be some tears and there's definitely going to be homework, but we don't want to tell anybody about all that stuff because then they'll never call.
I have to tell you, before we go, I got my new business cards, and when I had them done, want to know what I put on the back, on the bottom?
There is no easy. Oh my gosh, that just melts my heart. Killing me.
Yep. All because of you. All because of you.
Well, thank you. It's the little things that make a person feel loved and feel valued. And that, the dumbest thing in the world to say, is the most valuable thing for you to give me.
It was really profound for me that day, as well as it was profound for you. And so I thank you for that, for giving me that aha, that awareness, because I do sometimes think that I have a tendency to make this hard work look easy. So thank you for reminding me that that is not the case.
Yes, I will definitely throw that out there all the time. It's never easy. And there's never tomorrow. There's either today or yesterday.
That's why
I love it when you're, yes. And I love it when you always say, time is the only commodity that you cannot get back. Yep. So use it wisely.
Yep. What you're given is what you're given.
God, we should do an hour coaching session on quoting each other.
I love it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's just do it for fun. I love it. That's so fantastic. So fantastic.
Oh my gosh.
Say that these conversations have been so valuable to me because they have stirred so many connections. Like, I've rebuilt connections that I've lost through doing these conversations. And the guests that I spent some time lining up yesterday, oh my gosh, you guys are just going to be, so many women with so many different walks of life to share, to like so much goodness. And I'm so excited that I get to use this platform to spend time with some of the women that I love the most. So
awesome. Very exciting.
Thank you, Val, for joining me today.
Well,
Thank you for taking a little extra time to spend with me. I know we're over an hour, but I'm just so grateful that you made this a priority, and I just adore you. And I always love spending time with you.
Oh, absolutely. I will prioritize you anytime. I love this. I do. I love doing this. So, all righty.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for everything. And you have a wonderfully fantastic rest of your day and a wonderful weekend.
Thanks. You too. And one of these weekends we're headed your way. So better watch out.
I'm so excited. I can't wait to spend time with you girls.
Okay. We'll get the party bus and head your way.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, goodbye, everybody. We
Bye,
know that you're all
everyone.
listening as well. I feel like it was just the Steph and Val show, but we love you all too.
We know that we take up the room sometimes, but we know that everybody else was going to get a lot of value out of this. So thank you, Val. Thank you, everybody, for taking the time to watch today. You can catch the replay in the Sisterhood group. It'll be up there for a while. So yes, we will eventually have a channel on YouTube that these will all be on, whether they're audios or videos. You'll be able to catch the replays there as well. So thank you, Val. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to watch today. And join us next week for another Radiant Life conversation with Melissa Eroldi. She is a doer of many, many things, and she's got some really incredible things to share with us. So I'm super excited to kind of dig into her brain and spend some time with her next week. Again, thank you, Val, and have a fantastic week, everyone.
Bye.